Chicago is a bustling city where many exciting stories unfold every day. The urban rail transit runs day and night on its crisscrossing tracks, connecting the towering skyscrapers. Lucy is an employee of the railway company. Just by catching a glimpse in the crowd, this ticket seller noticed the man she felt an attraction to. As a service worker in the subway system, Lucy sees her ideal partner every morning at 8. However, this young woman lacks any social opportunities to initiate contact. All of this may be related to Lucy's upbringing. She grew up beside a father with a romantic spirit, naturally cultivating a rich inner world. In those warm childhood memories, her father once told her that her mother was his entire world. Now both parents have passed away, leaving Lucy to live alone. Her longing for love and romance supports this young woman as she continues forward. With Christmas approaching, Lucy is preparing for the holiday alone. Just as this ticket seller is about to finish her last working day before the holiday, the department supervisor brings unexpected news. As the only single employee in the work team, the task of holiday duty falls on her. Though she is reluctant, understanding Lucy considers her colleagues' need for family gatherings and ultimately accepts the work arrangement. With her holiday plans falling through, Lucy can only imagine a snowy Christmas night at home. At the station, passengers are filled with the joy of the holiday spirit. Only this young female ticket seller must remain at her post. But it seems that a special encounter is waiting for Lucy. The gentleman passenger who wished her a Merry Christmas is the one she secretly pays attention to during her daily work. However, before Lucy can react, he hurriedly leaves, only leaving a frustrated Lucy at the ticket window. Meanwhile, Peter today seems to have faced an unexpected event. Perhaps due to a dispute at work, he was pushed onto the tracks at the station platform. Panicked, Lucy rushed forward to help, but was unable to lift the unconscious Peter alone. The approaching train left no time for thought. In a moment of desperation, Lucy embraced the injured man and rolled to the side, and they narrowly escaped danger. After work, Lucy immediately rushed to the hospital. Faced with the routine inquiry about the injured person's information at the hospital front desk, Lucy found herself unable to provide it. Although she saved a life, in reality they had no connection. Blocked from entering, Lucy unconsciously murmured that she was supposed to marry him. This careless remark was overheard by a nearby nurse, and the medical staff immediately invited this anxious, injured man's fiancée into the ward. The news quickly spread throughout the hospital, and even the duty police officer and the attending physician believed it without a doubt. Before Lucy could explain, Peter's family hurriedly arrived at the hospital. The injured man's name is Peter, a beloved member of the Callahan family. Friends and family were discussing the condition of the injured person with concern. Lucy didn't have time to clarify, and the conversations in the ward had already put her in an inexplicable predicament. When Peter's relatives inquired about Lucy's identity, they were informed by the nurse that Lucy was the injured person's fiancée. At this point, Lucy realized she could no longer clarify this misunderstanding. Since Peter usually lived alone and rarely discussed personal matters with his family, his grandmother was almost in tears upon learning that the younger generation of the family was engaged. The whole family looked at the elegant Lucy, their faces beaming with comforting smiles. They were even curious about how the young couple met. They had heard of Peter's ex-girlfriend Ashley, but the family did not hold that lady in high regard. Embarrassed, Lucy had to describe her first encounter with Peter. Although it was just a brief glance during work, at that moment, Lucy felt that her life would undergo unexpected changes. Lucy's premonition was not wrong. This accident not only made her experience a thrilling rescue moment, but also introduced her to the warm-hearted Callahan family. In addition, the landlord's son Joey also began to try to arrange a meeting with Lucy. Returning to her empty home, Lucy did not know how to spend this Christmas alone. As night fell, she returned once again to Peter's bedside. The unconscious Peter remained silent, and in the quiet ward, only Lucy quietly expressed her thoughts. She confessed that she had fallen in love with Peter at first sight, but as a stranger, she was mistaken by Peter's family as his fiancée. Lucy did not know how to clarify this misunderstanding. She only wished to find someone in the vast crowd with whom she could share laughter and companionship. And she hoped that this person would be Peter. As her words fell, the weary Lucy nestled beside Peter and fell asleep. She was unaware that another person was keeping vigil over Peter throughout the night. That person was Peter's godfather, Saul. The next morning, the alarm clock woke Lucy, who was immersed in a beautiful situation. The Callahan family, who came to visit Peter, were very pleased with this kind girl. Peter's father even stepped forward to extend an invitation for a family gathering to this future daughter-in-law. Due to Peter's unexpected coma, their Christmas dinner was postponed by a day. Faced with the family's warm invitation, Lucy could only silently agree. Before leaving, Lucy not only retrieved Peter's lost belongings from the nurse, but also learned a shocking secret from Peter's colleague. As night fell, Lucy, holding flowers, wandered in the courtyard of the Callahan home. As Peter's pretend fiancée, she did not know whether she should continue this act. This scene happened to be witnessed by Godfather Saul, who immediately invited Lucy to talk for a moment. Saul solemnly informed Lucy that the Callahan family could no longer bear any more stress. In any case, they had to keep the evening joyful. After saying this, the two walked into the house surrounded by the Callahan family. The family's Christmas dinner was not dampened by the one-day delay. Lucy not only received childhood photos of Peter, but was also warmly invited by the Callahan family to take a group photo. The cheerful family atmosphere before her was exactly the scene that lonely Lucy yearned for in her heart. She could hardly remember the last time she felt such happiness with family on Christmas Eve. Just by her presence, she could make everyone feel happy, which was a reflection of being cherished. Lucy's Christmas stocking had also been hung early by the Callahan family by the wall. But the Lucy sleeping on the sofa did not know that even without Peter, this was not a complete Christmas Eve for the Callahan family. The youngest son, Jack, who had been managing the family business, returned home late at night after being busy. Like the unfamiliar woman before him, Jack was also a selfless person. It was Jack's silent contributions that made this unforgettable Christmas Eve possible. However, Lucy did not know this person who contributed silently. Jack had never heard his brother mention this suddenly appearing fiancée. Jack found it hard to believe that his future sister-in-law needed to leave in a hurry in the morning. In any case, Lucy spent a warm and wonderful Christmas Eve with the Callahan family. She carefully examined the photos of Peter and Jack, the two brothers. She also unexpectedly discovered a bag of cat food, indicating that there was a cat in Peter's residence that needed care. Kind-hearted Lucy never wanted to put others in a difficult position, nor would she let the lovely cat go hungry. She immediately took the cat food and rushed to the apartment indicated by the address. However, she still needed to be particularly careful to avoid Joey, who was obsessed with her. But before Lucy could walk far, a doubtful Jack chased after her. He asked Joey about Lucy's situation, but unexpectedly learned that she was dating his older brother's fiancée. Such a complicated interpersonal relationship left Jack very confused. Peter lived in a clean and tidy apartment in the city center. However, there was no cat in front of the large floor-to-ceiling window as Lucy had imagined. She searched through each room and happened to bump into Jack, who had come to check. Jack did not remember his brother having a cat, but as soon as he finished speaking, a cat indeed appeared in the apartment. It seemed that this suspicious woman was indeed connected to his brother. But for Jack, who believed Joey's words, this single piece of evidence was far from enough. Just then, the hospital called. According to the usual procedure, both Jack and Lucy needed to donate blood for the unconscious Peter. Even when he arrived at Peter's bedside, Jack kept asking Lucy for private information about her brother. The tense scene nearly surprised Grandma. Fortunately, Lucy was able to see Peter almost every day, and she could barely answer Jack's questions. However, the persuasiveness of these answers was insufficient. Faced with the questioning gazes of the family, Lucy had no choice but to reveal the most secret information about Peter. It turned out that about a month ago, Peter had an accident during sports, and a critical area was affected. Upon hearing this, the family's expressions changed drastically. After Peter's mother verified the information, everyone confirmed that Lucy was telling the truth. From then on, no one doubted Lucy's identity. Even so, Lucy returned home without feeling happy at all. She was just following Saul's instructions and did not intend to deceive anyone. Joey's entanglement made her even more distressed. Just as she was speaking, Saul knocked on Lucy's door. In a panic, Lucy quickly hid Joey. It turned out that Saul had come to remind Lucy once again that the Callahan family could no longer bear the changes. Only she could support the family through Peter's coma during this time. Saul stated that he knew Lucy and Peter were not engaged, but as a godfather, he would definitely assist the two in resolving this misunderstanding. Upon hearing this, Lucy understood that she had no other choice. She had to temporarily agree to this matter. But before Saul could leave, the attentive Jack came back to Lucy. It turned out that Peter's parents had already prepared engagement furniture for the two, with Jack responsible for moving and assembling it. Lucy remembered Joey still hiding in the cupboard and suggested placing the new furniture in Peter's apartment. Jack stopped in the truck downstairs, loaded with the new furniture for the two. He had always helped his father manage the furniture business and personally made high-quality rocking chairs. Knowing that Lucy was very satisfied with this, he felt genuinely happy. However, when Lucy suggested that Jack start his own business independently, he still had concerns. It wasn't that he doubted his own abilities. Jack just didn't want to upset his father. Aside from accidentally breaking a vase, the moving process went smoothly. But when they went downstairs again, they found that the truck's entrance and exit had been blocked. The two had to leave on foot. But Chicago at night is not safe for a single woman. After Jack insisted repeatedly, Lucy agreed to accompany him. Jack was not only enthusiastic and friendly, but also very humorous. Lucy took the opportunity to talk about her romantic father. Her father loved maps during his lifetime. Whenever they saw an interesting place on TV, the father and daughter would mark it on the map. And the place Lucy longed for the most was Florence, far away in Europe. In the countless mundane and busy days and nights, this European city of art that her father once mentioned has become a sanctuary for all of Lucy's romance and fantasies. But fate seems not to have favored her. Not only is she unable to reach her dream destination, but she has also never encountered her own partner. Jack, who quietly listens from the side, empathizes with Lucy's unfulfilled wishes. Although he has never been to Florence, he, who has been busy with family business for a long time, understands this feeling of being unable to control one's own destiny. Though Lucy and Jack come from vastly different backgrounds, the two selfless individuals can sense each other's kind and pure hearts. Lucy and Jack enjoy a lively conversation, but good times always pass in the blink of an eye. It seems that they haven't traveled far when they arrive at the bottom of Lucy's apartment building. Perhaps heaven wants to add some tests for these two who wander outside of their ideals, as several small incidents occur in the courtyard. Jack and Lucy slip several times in the cold snow, but with each other's support, they manage to stand up again and again. Lucy and Jack, who have always silently given to others, finally find their own support. Similar souls can always meet and understand each other in the vast sea of people. In their laughter and joy, there is no trace of loneliness. This sweet feeling is very subtle, and neither of them wants it to end. However, Lucy's outward identity constantly reminds Jack to keep his distance. After a brief farewell, they still watch each other leave. This unprecedented sweetness, like the bells from Florence, strikes a chord in Lucy's heart. Knowing the complexity of the situation, Lucy seeks advice from her experienced leader. She is now Peter's fake fiancé, but it is only at this moment that she realizes the one she has fallen for is Peter's brother, Jack. The leader is greatly shocked by Lucy's situation. In his view, the only solution is to terminate Peter's life support. Of course, the leader's suggestion is merely a joke, because Jack would never allow anyone to harm his brother. He has always had a close relationship with his excellent brother. Even though he is often compared to him, he rarely envies everything his brother has. Only this time does he feel a strong sense of jealousy. He laments how lucky his brother is to meet a partner like Lucy. If possible, he wishes that the one Lucy loves is himself. Everyone loves the suddenly appearing Lucy. She gradually integrates into Peter's family. During a family dinner, the elders jokingly hope that Lucy will introduce a partner for single Jack. Jack can only awkwardly respond that he likes blonde women. Amidst the laughter of everyone, only his sister knows the truth. In fact, it is brown-haired women who are Jack's type. This is just a joke, and his sister is puzzled as to why her second brother is being so insincere. Lucy takes everything in front of her into her eyes. But she, aside from pretending not to care, didn't know how to resolve the deadlock. Now, every farewell between her and Jack seemed particularly awkward. Yet her situation was far luckier than Joey's. Since witnessing her rival's handsomeness that night, Joey had deeply realized the crisis. As he said, The way Lucy looked at Jack was as fiery as seeing the first sports car in life. Joey hastily ordered a wreath overnight, hoping to win back Lucy's heart. But Lucy could only inform him that they were not destined partners. This ridiculous scene left Jack, who was waiting nearby, quite puzzled. But he always believed in Lucy's character. Soon, he finally waited for Lucy to come downstairs for the New Year party. Perhaps too eager, the spontaneous Jack actually used a truck to take Lucy to the party venue. Friends at the party, like nurses at the hospital, loved to spread rumors. Seeing the handsome Jack with Lucy, it was only natural for Lucy to be rumored as Jack's fiancée. Caught in the gossip, Lucy didn't know how to explain to her boss. To avoid further misunderstandings, she left the party with Jack. But Lucy didn't know that Jack also held misunderstandings about her. He simply couldn't understand why the unpredictable Joey always entangled with his beloved Lucy. Jack complained about the other while mimicking the scene he had just witnessed. As the distance between them gradually closed, Lucy's heart began to stir. But just as the atmosphere was becoming pleasant, a friend thought Lucy was being sexually harassed and offered help. Lucy quickly expressed her gratitude, dispelling her friend's concerns. This sudden interruption pulled them back from the romantic atmosphere into reality. Not knowing how to explain, Jack could only tell Lucy that everything he did was to make her happy. But Lucy did not accept this goodwill. She excitedly told Jack that if he truly wanted to treat others well, he should first achieve self-fulfillment. Jack clearly had enough ability and ambition, yet he was always unwilling to step out of his father's protection. If Jack's own life was not going well, how could he talk about making her happy? Upon hearing this, Jack could no longer suppress his thoughts. He just hoped Lucy could understand that, as the operator of a family business, starting independently was not an easy decision. After all, everyone and every family had to face the pressures of life. Lucy had longed for Florence since childhood and had arranged her visa and itinerary. But the trivial work and life in reality had always stayed close to her. If Lucy's father were watching over her, he would surely feel heartbroken for her. The sincere words calmed all emotions, and the two finally regained their composure. After exchanging New Year wishes, they both needed to calm down and think about how to face themselves in the future. The new year often comes with surprises. Peter, who had been unconscious for several days, finally woke up amidst everyone's laughter. The Callahan family was extremely excited to hear the news. However, what they did not expect was that their son, although awake, did not recognize his fiancée. The family believed Peter had amnesia, leaving Lucy in a very awkward situation. She just wanted to clarify the misunderstanding to the family as soon as possible. But Saul still assured her that he would handle everything. Everyone was certainly happy about Peter's awakening. However, for different people, there were still many unresolved issues. Although Jack still took Lucy home as usual, he knew deep down that he had no chance left. After expressing his blessings to Lucy, he decided to face himself. Kind-hearted Lucy not only helped the troubled Peter regain consciousness, but also awakened Jack, who had been suppressed for many years. What Lucy said that night was very true. To treat others well, one must first achieve oneself. Only by creating his own career could he better protect his beloved family. The next morning, Jack found his father alone. The awakening of his brother brought joy to the whole family. But he really could no longer hide from his father. He started with the beautifully crafted rocking chair and honestly told his father about his desire to become independent and start his own business. To Jack's surprise, his father not only did not get angry, but also expressed full affirmation of Jack. In fact, it was not just his father. The kind and warm Callahan family had long recognized Jack's years of dedication. Even Jack himself had not realized that everyone who cared for him hoped this excellent carpenter could carve out his own space. But the person involved is confused, while the observer sees clearly. Lucy could guide Jack but could not clarify her own grievances. She placed all her hopes on Saul, and Saul's method was very clever. He directly told Peter that Lucy was not his fiancée, but had indeed saved him and cared for the Callahan family. After spending this time together, the whole family recognized Lucy's character and charm. Peter now had only two choices: to follow his heart and announce to everyone that he was breaking off his engagement with Lucy, or to ask himself whether he was willing to continue this act and treat Lucy sincerely. Fortunately, Peter was well educated, and he quickly understood his godfather's intention. He couldn't help but compare the gentle and considerate Lucy with his ex-girlfriend Ashley. Although Peter had previously proposed to Ashley, he had never truly invested in any woman. Moreover, Ashley had not accepted at that time. He had decided to accept his godfather's suggestion. Lucy was indeed his fiancée, and this beautiful misunderstanding could continue. Determined, Peter officially told Ashley, who came to question him, that they had broken up. Their relationship thus came to an end. Just after ending a relationship, Peter displayed excellent communication skills. He said to the anxious Lucy that he was very fortunate to have met her in his life. It was Lucy who gave him a second chance at life, a coma that brought him back to consciousness. Peter's family all loved Lucy, and he himself would probably fall in love with Lucy too. Peter immediately thought about proposing to Lucy and whether she would be willing to marry him. In the ward where life and death were experienced, this was undoubtedly an extremely romantic scene. The nurse who was eavesdropping outside the ward was even so moved that she fainted. Lucy never expected that Saul really resolved all misunderstandings. In just one more day, she would be able to marry her Prince Charming. But the clear-minded Jack believed that every day before his brother's wedding was worth cherishing. This would be his last visit to Lucy's apartment. He came this time to give the long-prepared gift before becoming family with Lucy. Inside the exquisite glass dome was a model of the Florence Cathedral. This was not only the most famous landmark in Florence, but also the most precious memory left by a romantic father for his daughter. Lucy never imagined that before she could realize her dream, someone would bring her a miniature of her ideal place. Feeling delighted about the wedding, Lucy looked at Jack's departing figure and suddenly felt a hint of hesitation in her heart. When Lucy asked Jack if he could give her a reason not to marry Peter, Jack replied that he could not. Lucy had never thought that the wedding she had longed for since childhood would arrive so suddenly. Having never rehearsed, she almost wore the cloak inside out. On this long corridor to happiness, every step had to be taken with extra caution. But compared to Peter, who was in a hospital gown in front of her, Lucy knew very well that she was not the most flustered person on site. Lucy was not overwhelmed by the sudden good news. At that moment, she just wanted to face her heart honestly. Before the priest could ask for the couple's intentions, an unexpected change occurred. Lucy stated that the person she liked was Jack, not Peter. Lucy fully recounted to all the friends and family present the experiences after rescuing Peter. She admitted that she was not Peter's fiancée. Although the kind Callahan family had given her warmth when she was lonely, because of that, she could not deceive everyone's feelings. The family in the audience understood everything that had happened that week upon hearing her words. They did not blame Lucy. In the eyes of the Callahan family, Lucy would surely become the best partner in the world. Only the amnesiac Peter would miss out. Although Lucy said goodbye to her dream wedding, she did not want to return to her previous life. What Jack said was true. If Lucy's parents were watching from above, they would surely wish for her to live happily. About to finish her last shift in the ticket hall, Lucy had completed her resignation procedures. She had seen countless people come and go, but had rarely focused on her own dreams. The train from Chicago cannot reach Florence, and Lucy does not belong here either. But just as Lucy was preparing to sell tickets as usual, what came into view was no longer the monotonous coins. A diamond ring was handed into the ticket window, not as currency for a ticket, but as a token to bid farewell to loneliness. Standing outside the window was the warm Callahan family. With determined eyes, Jack slowly walked into the ticket hall, and there was no longer any reason to separate the two. Lucy finally held her dream wedding beside the tracks where Peter was in danger. The figure in her fantasy was never a prince on a white horse. The one who truly wished for her happiness was her destined one. Lucy and Jack would also embark on the long-awaited journey to Florence.